welcome to another edition of Mr. Parker's Neighborhood. I am Mr. Parker, and today, again, I have an outstanding guest with me today. I have Miss Nikki Roach. Oh, wait, hold on. Shall I put the Dr. Nikki Roach in there yet? Or it's just...
Not yet.
Okay. Yes, we have Miss Nikki Roach with us today. How are you?
I am good. Honored to be on your platform.
Hey, look here. I got to get things in order, boy. I got to make sure people know I know somebody. Just somebody.
I love this. This is bringing about all kinds of emotions, considering we have a pretty long history of doing the such.
We're going to get into all that good stuff. We'll get into all that good stuff. But to start off, what I always do is I take time out and I give the viewers a chance to guess what my guest does. So check this out. I'm gonna tell them the categories in which they can choose from. Here we go. 1, is my guest A, a radio producer? B, a television actress? C, a renowned singer? D, a administration education professional? Or E, one of the above? We done. Okay, now y'all ain't guessing them right, so don't worry about it. Miss Nicole Roach, can you please tell them what it is that you do?
Well, on Sundays. No, seriously, I am very blessed, very grateful. So 9 to 5, which is not 9 to 5, higher ed administrator for St. Louis University. I can say that, can I?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And let's see, used to be a singer, retired. Author. Yes, I do host the show Conversations in the Nick of Time on KSTL 690. Most people think it's a podcast, but it really is a radio show that actually, I don't even have a podcast yet. But I'm going to work on that with your help. I'm gonna recruit you. And what else? And then also do a lot of have a nonprofit with Lori Jackson called Mosaic Ceiling, where we empower women of color and culture here in the region. And then also I have a boutique learning and leadership firm called Covenant Exchange.
See that? I told you, y'all wasn't guessing none of them because she'd have been A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Y'all still wouldn't have got none of them right. So I'm just so glad.
I know, but I'm good to be here. So good to be here.
Now let's go ahead and start the building process. Miss Roach, are you hold on, stop. Let me stop. I'm sorry. Nicole Roach was the proper way of me saying things in the beginning. Now I'm getting into family mode. Nikki, so this is what we're gonna do.
What's up, CP?
So Nick, tell the people, are you originally from St. Louis?
St. Louis is home. My family is here, born and raised. I did manage to get out, but St. Louis brings you back in. I lived in New York for 1 year. Okay,
so your St. Louis story is you went to public high school, or did you go to private high school? What was the deal?
I went to public, U-City, Utah.
I just wanted to let you see that. I just wanted you to do that. And actually, now the people know. I told them before. My people have been on here. We've been doing view time. Y'all were the only ones that came back with view time. So we let y'all slide with that.
Yes, K through first grade all the way to 12.
Okay. You did
University City School District.
Okay. All right. Did you do any sports or anything in U City? Or you just were a regular student?
I ran track under the coach Julius Sims, who is Reverend Dr. Julius Sims now. He still is in St. Louis, and Annette Smith were our coaches. I did so well as a sophomore, that I was immediately placed on varsity. Okay. Broke records during that time. I have my little awards at my parents' house. But then got grown. I didn't want to run anymore. I'm like, what? Boys looking at me? I don't have time to run after school.
So puberty stopped track.
Yes. I had a scholarship and decided I did not want to pursue it.
What? Left
Yeah.
track alone, did you? So where you end up going to college at?
I started at Harris Stowe
Okay.
back and and I went for one semester. Realized that, oh my gosh, I can make some money, like some good money back then, because I think our generation, our age category was the last where you can go and get a job and you're getting what your parents were making without a college degree. And I ended up dropping out. I dropped out, which later came back to bite me. But we got it corrected. And but later I had to go back to school because I hit that wall and that ceiling to where, oh, you have the skill set, but you don't have the credentials. So I ended up going back to school, Webster University, in my late 20s. I went back to school and I've been in school ever since. So Webster was undergrad and grad, and now I'm doing, as you mentioned earlier, alluded to, finishing up a doctorate.
Now, Webster. So at Webster, your major was what was your major? What were you majoring in?
Undergrad, it was media communications.
Okay.
with a minor in women's studies.
Oh, okay.
So everything that I'm doing now, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then I have 2 masters. One is in public relations.
Okay.
And the other one is in human resource development.
All right.
And then I went on to Cornell University to get a certificate in diversity management.
Okay.
And I had totally blessed to do a week-long education forum over or up at Harvard University that I'm quite proud of.
Up at Harvard, where we are.
up at Harvard. No, it was life-changing. And so I usually don't mention that, but it really was instrumental in shifting my lens in regards to where I saw myself in higher ed, but also myself as just a woman in leadership. It was a program where 50 women from all over the world were selected. And when I say a blessing, because I applied at the last minute, not knowing that, did I really have what it took to be a part of it? Because you had to write an essay, fill out the application, get approval from your leadership team to even take off that time, because you had to go there to Boston.
Okay.
And it was 7 days immersion into this program with Harvard instructors. And I'm telling you, I still have all my information that I still use, and that was some years ago. So,
man,
a blessing.
So I say, see that? Look at the U City graduate does Harvard. Woohoo!
I know, the college dropout, right?
Now look,
next time you have to put that on the list. College dropout.
College dropout. But see, now you have a bachelor and 2 masters and working on a doctorate. Woohoo! So look, you too can drop out and still come back a winner. But now, before you went off to college, the thing about it is that you also, your parents you mentioned earlier. Who is your father and mother?
My father is Reverend Dr. Charles M. Roach. So why do you always try to get me emotional? So yeah, we are going on 6 years of him being in rest. So he had transitioned. It's almost 6 years, and it seems like it was literally just months ago. And Lady D, Dolores Roach, she is my mom, and I'm blessed to have her literally connected at the hip. And I'm just grateful for the fact that we have such an amazing relationship. And it was, even with my father before his transition, but he had me to make a promise, which was, no matter what, make sure you take good care of your mom. And I told him, by any means necessary. So that's why I worked so hard. That's why I had to go back to school, not even just for her, but even while he was here. Just very fortunate and grateful to have those 5 last years of his life. We really leaned in. It's no secret. My father and I have spoken to a number of groups Even the Hazelwood School District, they did a father-daughter luncheon, and my father and I were invited to be the guest. We had this long script and we had kind of practice, and then when we arrived, he was like, move the podium and put the paper down, and he just started crying, and so we just came off real that it took work for us to get to this relationship to where literally, and like now, oh my God, I'm like, I need to talk to you so bad, and so but I'm grateful again just to have been able to be positioned to be at his feet his last 5 years, and then my mom as well. So and then to give her a chance to explore life, being a first family that came with blessings and challenges, and one of the challenges was our time as a family. And so I remember when my father even took the stance of canceling anything after first service. Like we have morning service and everything else, no more afternoons. He was like, because more of you would be with your families or in your marriages if you spent more time, this much time as you do at church, at home. And you can't say that until you've gone through that. And when I tell you the dynamics of our family, our household shifted. It wasn't bad, but when I tell you we lived and we went to concerts, and then some people were like, oh my gosh, you are going to see, the Gap Band or Charlie Wilson. Yes. And my dad would be, woo! And I'm like, I'm so embarrassed. But it's cherish your parents, and then especially now we're living in just such challenging times, and even the strong, Lauren Spearman has this saying, check on your strong friends. And we had a chance to connect and have an exchange similar to this. And I'm like, man, it was such a blessing for God to give you that saying, which was check on your strong friends. I'm like, man, it's because it's a lot. It's a lot. But nurture that family, get it, and whatever is off, get it right.
And let's say, and what you led into being a preacher's kid. Now you had the PK piece, and I can't help it but to say, now were you the typical PK, or were you the goody two-shoes PK?
No, what has been, again, my parents have been always so open to exposing me to all kinds of things. I'm talking from a little kid all the way up. My father used to take me, he was also in education, and he was also at one point president of the AFL-CIO Teachers Union, and then also the Janitors Union. I was a little kid, like in second grade, even with second, third grade or whatever, all the way up to I started driving, and I would go to these meetings with him. He would have me sit at the table. I would have to distribute paperwork. He would have me a part of it, and I'm like, now I'm doing the very thing he exposed me to. And then I get that other side from my mom, which is, that she's so nurturing and so full of joy all the time. So I think I have a good balance, but they have always been, go to the dances, go to hang out with your friends, just make it respectful. My mother would be like, oh my God, Charles, you got to give her a time. Because he would say, what do you think is the proper time for a young lady to come into the house?
Wow.
He always made me make the decision.
Gotcha.
And then tell why. So I'm like, look at this man. Now I get it. In my adult, I'm like, okay, so he was teaching me how to be a leader, good decisions, and make good decisions. And literally, like, I mean, it was a great time of growing up, and even being a PK.
Man, I mean, it's funny to hear you talk about it, because, like I said, we've been together. Look, now over 20-some years, to where I was there and went on trips with y'all and everything, to where I know he loved living life, and it wasn't no hey, look, we ain't got time for that old, well, I'm a preacher and I'm like, nah, we
no.
I got time to play with that.
When I tell you every day, and I mean, but he loved, and I'm the same, love to entertain.
Yeah,
whether it's in the house or whether we like, okay, everybody meet us at
right.
fill in the, meet us here and we got you, we love that. And that's what it's about. Like, as God, we not being funny, what we were being funny earlier about school and the different schools I've attended and the experiences I've had. All that is not for me.
Right.
To go around and celebrate and look what I've done. Who cares?
Right.
But what it has done is God has allowed me to use that and leverage my skill set and my ability to put me in places, one, to be a blessing, to be the light, to advance the kingdom, yes, even in the marketplace and the workplace, but also to be a blessing to my friends and my family. It's this stuff can come and go. But again, back to that family. I mean, I'm really serious about that. Like, I think also because of the pandemic and all of that. And as you know, I've dealt with some just major loss. And I'm still processing that, to be honest. But I will say it has caused me to step back and look at life totally different. Well, maybe not totally different. I've just leaned into it a little more to where I don't like, oh yeah, we're here and we gone. You know how we just kind of touch on it.
Right.
But right now, no, we are here and we are gone.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? There's a birth date and an end date.
Yeah.
What do you do with all that in the middle? Yeah. And so I'm just very intentional about what I'm doing in the middle. And when you said, like, my father was one who lived, no, I want to do the same thing. Yeah. And I mean, I don't care if it's like the ladies and I went out not too long ago, and it's like, look, this is not the time to be cute. Who knows if we'll ever have this moment again? Here, smash this cake in your face. No, it's about memories and experiences, and we can get so comfortable in what is and what was, and I think we all got a little shaken off our core in regards to what was a norm, and now we're trying to fit these square pegs in these round holes, meaning it has changed forever. Yes,
ma'am, you are right. And it's so funny because like I said, we're gonna go back. Yeah, it was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I was starting my new little piece, and had you come over and was going to do a show called The Journey, and we were talking about how things were, and you stated on there as far as being on this wheel for so long, and then said, I decided to get off the wheel, and I was like, that's deep, Nick. That's deep stuff, Nick. And you like. I mean, it was like you were like, no, I've been running this wheel, and like I said, the way you said it, I'm sitting taking it in, because I was at a point where I'm like, man, look here, I enjoy this, that, and other. My daughter going off to college, she finished college. Now it's time to switch up and change gears, because I done everything for everybody, and now it's like, all right, look here, I've been moving on my own way, but I've been settling for other people's ways just so I can get to that next mode. So yeah.
And so it's so interesting you bring that up, because now I'm even processing this whole wheel concept and analyzing where am I right now, because things are new for me in a number of actually almost always that it's new. However, it is very interesting that I am now at this space to where, like, I've never been one like, okay, this is what I want. I want to be a professor. I'm going after a professor. No, I've kind of been like a free spirit, and that's how I even landed in higher ed. It'll be 20 years in April. Wow. April 15th, 2021. It will be 20 years I've been in higher ed, and I have been in a number of different capacities. And so I'm now in a capacity to where I have influence. I did at the other institution, but this is different. Okay. At a institution that has an even greater reach. However, I'm not a chaser. I'm not a climber for others. Right, if it's something that I'm trying to pursue, it's just a personal pursuit. I'm not doing it. Hey, like, who cares? Because now that going back to life is fleeting and we are here and then we are gone.
Yeah.
And then when we are gone, people are sorting through our stuff. Like, I mean, I've experienced it more than once this year with people like literally like in my camp, you know?
Right.
So it's like to see and talking about young people. So I'm like, this is so interesting. You better align yourselves. Quit this foolishness of trying to live these facades. If that is not what you want, and these people are trying to live up to something that other people themselves not even living up to. But my thing is, I am at this place, I choose.
Yep.
And I don't mean that in an arrogant way at all. It's just because you choose.
That's
it. It's all about choices. And at some point, some of us choose different things than what other people want. And while some of us, even on that wheel, you're doing everything for everybody else, and you finally jump off to catch your breath. And everybody, of course, is going to have a little something to say, which, why did you get off? Why did you get off? Just like last time, I think when we came together to chat, I was just leaving a very high profile position and told nobody.
Right.
That was the best decision I had ever made, which was people found out when they released a press release.
Right. That's it.
And I'm like, because I wanted to do it. I wanted change. And so even at that time, spouse is like, why would you do that? That's crazy. But I'm going to let you do what you want to do. Right. But you've made it. And I had to ask, what is make it?
That's it. Yeah.
Life is a journey.
Yeah.
Which was your word. It really is a journey. And it's like, what will you do with it? I know I have a dear friend, and he has vowed to take on new projects like every quarter. Projects like right now he's learning how to bowl with a professional coach. Then he did camera, photos and all this other stuff. But he has a lot going on, but he makes time. So I'm like, you know what? I need to do that. I need to make time, not just for the work. And so I thought I was making time, but I wasn't making enough time. I always say you cannot give what you don't have. So you've got to make time to fuel up and pour out. And some of those things are fueling up. Some of us, it is work all the time. But for me, I'm learning, I don't want to just work. I want to live as I work. But even my work, I chose a position that complemented. I even got off all my boards, all my different organizations. And I chose the one, and now we got 1.5 because there's one that's pending. I wanted it to make sense to what value do I bring that I believe I bring, and from that value, how do I align with someone who would benefit? Not me benefit from them, but they benefit from what God has given me to do and to be decent at.
Like I say, I'm gonna just go do that too. Dr. Nikki right now, because you are dropping science on the people, and I really appreciate it. But I mean, like I said, we've been around each other in some pinnacle moments where people don't have a clue. We didn't have a clue of what was going down. Like I said, when I came and did the interview about the rink, our skating movie coming up, and we in there doing the interview, and I'm telling you about that, and we get off the air, and I say, hey, oh yeah, let me show you this. And I was showing you my letter of resignation because I'm like, hey, I got to roll out, and nobody knew about it.
You choose. But I'm telling people, you've got to choose. But don't be so quick to just jump and do something. Take time. But what I've learned though is that in order to do that, you've got to there has to be some serious introspective work that has to happen. You have to stop, pause, get to know yourself. Why do I do this? Why do I like this? You know what? I really don't like that. I've just been doing that because, it could be for money, it could be for things, it could be but figure out that why and figure out the what. Like, what is it that you really, really want to do? And right now, as we've learned, people are doing what they want to do. But you do not have to give up your 9 to 5 to do the things, because my 9 to 5, so to speak, is the funder for my heart work. That my heart, That's my first sponsor, because you have to invest in your own choice first, not other people. So my 9 to 5, because when 2020 rolled around, I can see clearly now. We were all jumping, leaving our jobs, being entrepreneurs, right? But I even had to learn though, you don't have to choose.
Yeah.
This is what I mean by define success as you.
Yeah.
Live out success as you define it. Live out success as you define it. But the thing is, we don't know we don't even know what it means for us personally.
Right.
We just think Louis purse, little nice car. Yeah, I saw your new car too, CP.
See. But see, hold on. But now, to clear out that up before
as we keep going. So my thing is,
you see how she just over talk me. It's cool. Go ahead, Nikki. Continue.
Thank you. So no, seriously. We have to begin to define what success is for ourselves. But again, that takes time, that takes honesty, that takes transparency, that takes vulnerability. Because my thing is, when I lived in New York, there was a gentleman, rain, sleet, snow, sunshine, was at the corner in the financial district, right outside of Banco Popular. He would set up a card table, the square tables with the 4 legs, and lay out stickers. $1 per sheet, a sheet like an 8x11 sheet, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper full of stickers, just different kind of stickers all over the table every morning, Monday through Friday. That's the kind of, I think about this all the time. And that was almost 20 years ago.
Right.
I still think about that because I'm like, I want to have that level of commitment to something that aligns with my values, my goals, the talents and gifts that God has given me. God positioned me to be that light, to be that salt, wherever it is in the world. And I try to have that mindset. Again, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing. And when you realize that, you'll understand you don't fall so deep into what they call imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome, meaning you're fake, you're fraud, you don't really know what you're doing. Yes, we all have those experiences whenever you're doing something new. And I was reading in this book called The Practice by Seth Godin, and he talks about the practice is the very thing that we do, or that we're gifted to do, but we have to continue to work at it. You never you get the rhythm, you get you perfect it, but it's not perfect. Right. But if we don't practice delivering the gift, it's nothing to just have it, but you've got to deliver it and you've got to practice it. Even if you mess up, even if it's not consistent, still give it out. And that changed my thought process, because I've been waiting to do certain things until I got it right. Until I got it shiny enough, until I got it centered enough. And then it's like, if I don't have it that way, do I really know what I'm doing? And it's like, no. Whenever I've now realized, if I don't feel some type of uneasiness, uncomfortableness, a little dose of imposter syndrome, guess what? That means I'm too comfortable. Okay. Because once you've mastered something, you come in and do what I need to do, right?
Right, that's it.
But that sense of, okay, I'm nervous, that's a good thing. That means you're stretching yourself. That means you're growing, and people are experiencing that with you, around you. That's what we want. So from here, I'm trusting God. I do have things that I'm in works of. I am back in radio. Who would have thought? But I love it. And I'm starting very part-time, very, very part-time. But honestly, I've been starting, and it's just been for the past couple months. I have been very part-time. Why? Because honestly, I've been afraid. But even after this talk, see, this was for me. Consistency and commitment. I'm ready to leave this. As soon as I leave here, I'm committing. You're going to hear me on your airwaves. Hey, I may need you even to come and be a guest. Seriously, though. But I'm back in radio, doing a little bit of, I'm still teaching. on a higher ed level, I am working with a partner, Lori Jackson, on a nonprofit. I also have my own organization, Covenant Exchange, which is an LLC, where I do the same diversity and inclusion work for organizations, but I also work with women of color to help them understand there are different things outside of credentials, meaning degrees and certifications, that you need to be successful in leadership, because we don't have enough examples. So we need people who have been in that space to come back and help those who are coming along. So I consider myself that liaison.
When I told you about doing the turning my resignation and was gone from the scene for a year, but it was the fact that when I left, my mind was clear, my heart was clear, and as soon as I stepped off, bam, here go 2 other gigs. Somebody, hey, can you come? You got time? You tell us what works for you. And
you
it was perfect. It was on purpose for me to do that. And then in the midst of time, a year later, I get a phone call. Hey, we want to see if we can get you to come back through, and you give us your terms, and we'll see what we can work. And that's
it. But the thing is, I also witnessed the fact that with just you having that letter and you tapped it, and inside, and then you pulled it out. That was a different person I was talking to. Yeah. Because you chose, here's the direction that I want to go in for this next season of life. And that's why I said, when we make these decisions, it doesn't mean they have to be permanent.
Right.
But you get to the point to where at least I'm directing the traffic of my life. I'm not allowing someone else to grab the wheel and letting me get off at exits that I have no clue.
Right.
Nor do I even want to get off at, But then I saw you walk through and you were like, man, it was like you did not know your worth prior to leaving that. What was secure and you had mastered.
Yeah, you're right. That's it. You are correct.
You had mastered that, not just your gifting and your offering in that experience and during that season, but you had mastered the people, you had mastered the engagement, you had mastered the politics of it. And when you left, you had to get your footing. You had to learn who you were. And I saw that, but your confidence in who you were and what you had to offer shifted very clearly. It shifted. Anybody who was around saw that happen. And I think that's a very great lesson for all of us to lean into, to where sometimes you have to go against what other people think you should be doing, even what you think you should be doing.
Yeah.
To get uncomfortable for a moment, to find yourself, lose yourself to find yourself,
Yeah, that's it. And like you said, that's crazy, because that whole, like I said, that it was an uncomfortable piece, because I still was like, oh, I'm okay, well, we got to figure out how we're going to do this, that, and other. But again, it's the fact that it was my terms, my choice, to where, I can, do I want to do this today? I don't want to do this today. I had the choice. And like I said, when I go back and I thought about what you said about getting off that wheel, it was like, man, that's it, Doc. It was a beautiful piece. Like say, hey, as long as I'm going, it's cool. But it's like, I can only go in circles so long, to where, look here, I need to go in a straight line or something, because this ain't happening.
Right. And then for those who didn't see that conversation, being on the wheel, we were referring to how you're kind of just existing, so to speak, but you're still moving. You're moving, you're doing, you're showing up, but it's not really like, are you present though? Because you can still be doing all of that and have this activity going on, and you leading that activity, but you're absent from the whole experience, because you're not there, you're not present. Just like now, it's us having this conversation. I'm not down here on a cell phone. I'm not. If I showed you, I have all kind of gadgets, but everything's turned off. And I think we're just so between the wheel and technology. That's why we're afraid to sit down in silence. People were going crazy. Listen, COVID was a blessing.
Yes, it
was. Because it allowed me to sit my butt down and figure some stuff out. And I took advantage of it. I'm not going to say wasn't any like hard moments or, moments to make you like, this is a bunch. Because, I've even had a number of family members impacted, and, one who transitioned due to COVID. not making light of it at all, but it caused, I'm hoping more of us, if you haven't already, I challenge you, take some time out. Some people say, oh my gosh, what do? You just sit and be silent. Yeah, sit and be silent and see what bubbles up. Write out whatever bubbles up, write it out. And I'm telling you, it's just, and I've learned you need to do that, and spend time with yourself. Go on a date with yourself. I know that sounds corny, but it helps, because that's how also when you're around good people, when you're like, man, they're good people. Most good people have taken time with self. They have introduced themselves to me. And so I have this piece that I did for, not piece, it was the keynote speech for 100 Black Women Coalition of Metropolitan St. Louis. And as I was preparing for that, and but then I was led. I mean, it just poured out in one day while I was at work and I was on a special project, and I had asked to organize this closet. So I was by myself in this closet organizing COVID testing kits.
Wow.
Which was not even my job. I was volunteering at my job to do this. And this is what I mean by finding moments to take time with yourself. And I literally had receipts, scraps of paper, schedules, and I just wrote it all out. And it's called, And Then I Saw Her. And so it was about, I finally saw her, and her was me. And at first, you have to come to grips with what you see, but then back to you choose.
That's it. Yeah.
What do you want next? Because what is doesn't have to be always, even in good stuff. Because in understanding that I can't get off of this. You choose, and I know some may say like, well, I don't really get to choose. We do get to choose. Yeah. It's just some of our past decisions have made it a little bit more challenging to choose different things now, but that does not mean you can't choose. It takes work. It's like I said, I was a college dropout. I had to work. I've been in school for like 18 years. I'm not kidding. 18. I'm still in school.
Still in school.
Because I had to make a choice, and then I had to figure out a way to pay for it. Like, because I made bad choice when I was younger, and my parents were like, okay, we'll support you. And I decided to be grown. That was a consequence. I can't fault anybody for that. I chose that. So I had to figure it out now. So yes, I get a raise at the end of this year, because I will not be paying for school anymore. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. No, I've had to work 2-3 jobs.
Yeah.
To make better decisions, to position myself to make better decisions. But this has been a journey. It still is a journey.
Yeah. And again, that's another reason why I say to have you on here, for those who saw you at Webster University in your position that you had there, for those that saw you and see you now at St. Louis U, for those that saw you at the different conferences and think that, oh, that Nikki Roach, they don't understand that you had to go through some things to get to where you are. And when they see it, it's like, oh man, well, how, it's a motivate. It inspires, like I say, it inspires me to do what I do better and even more frequently, because that's nothing. When we interviewed me last, before the whole piece went down, you said, what makes you relevant? Remember that you asked me, how do you stay relevant? And it was like, oh, man, I left there saying, how do I stay relevant? I got to figure out a way. And like I said, during that COVID drop, my thing to my people were either you're going to learn to do something new, or you're going to just get stuck at where you are. And during mid-COVID, like I say, he was like, you know what? I did Mr. Parker's Neighborhood in college. I said, let me bring it right back and get a twist on it, because the gadgets, I didn't realize that the people I know, I'm like, well, I can't get to see them. Somebody told me, hey, they got this thing called Portal, where you can call people and visualize it. And I got one of those and was calling my people. I was like, hey, yeah. And then somebody said, hey, you can record your Zoom. I can record Zoom. I'm like, yeah. Oh, it's over now then, because I'm hitting people up in New York, Chicago,
Exactly.
Florida.
So, oh my God.
And I'm doing my thing. I said, oh, y'all, like, what's gonna say, like, like Dave Chappelle, y'all should have never gave me.
So, oh my God, CP, you bring up a great point, because I actually was canceling Conversations in the Nick of Time on KSTL 690 AM. I was canceling that right when COVID hit. And but they asked, can you not, we want this format because your content is not like anything else we have on the station. We will work with you. And so then COVID hits, and I'm like, okay, this is my out. So we started running. I'm like, just run repeats, since you all are not going to give me what I want. And this is when I say, though, sometimes people will see something in you that you don't see in yourself. And in that moment, Miss Linda Galloway and Elder Kenneth McClendon really worked with me and held me down, because I had too much. I had life going on at the same time, which we haven't even tapped into that. Right. Personally. And so I ended up, I'm like, you know what, let's just go ahead and just run these encores. But I had to go out and invest in myself to keep the show going. They added, so now the show is an hour. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even want to do the 30 minutes. But then let me also throw this in too, because I had to learn this lesson. At first I was like, let's go ahead and cancel and close this out anyway. You know, it's just, who listens to radio? And then it's on the AM dial and 690, like all the way at the beginning. Nobody even listens. I could hear, it was almost audible, God saying, little girl, be faithful.
That's it.
Over these, what you may think is few. And I got my butt together, my attitude together in regards to this little something. And I began to lean into making it better, serving in excellence as I engaged my guests, all of them, and respecting the platform and respecting the opportunity that someone was willing to sponsor.
There it is.
So I'm like, get it together, do your part. And I'm like, and we always trying to run around and get more, but you're not even handling and being a good steward over what you already have. And I wasn't. And so then once I shifted that, after a little bit, everything just started coming into place. I had to buy all of this stuff and set up a studio in the house. And I don't do technology. But again, what's the word? Choice.
Choice, yeah.
I had to choose. Are you going to learn it? Just like you said earlier, you going to learn it, or you say you want some different things. You say you want to be a blessing. You say you want, you're a speaker, and you don't get to, we don't always get to choose the assignment that God places us on. Right. So I'm like, no, let's do what we need to do. Let's go buy some little fancy stuff. And I don't even know how to do you know the first 3 months of me setting up the home studio, the mic was not even on because it was not even plugged in the right port. That's how bad I was. But I got it figured out. And so my thing is, you go through these phases. You've got to respect and I first had to embrace what God had, those doors he had opened for me, and not take them lightly. And then also realizing that this is not for self. This is to help others. And it's a blessing. It's really a blessing to be able to do that. And this invitation, I don't take lightly. And you were saying earlier about how you were encouraged. I'm grateful, to be alive and hear you say that, because, some may or may not know. So even while all this has been going on in regards to before COVID, we get, God gives us a few more years with him. He transitions. I get married. Right upon getting married, he's diagnosed with small cell lung cancer. So I'm carrying and doing all this behind the scenes that a lot of people didn't know, while still doing all these other things: school, work, radio, the nonprofit with the women, my consulting. So all of this going on. And then even in that, and it's all good stuff, even in that, you have to fall back. And now he has transitions.
Right.
And it's just amazing. Like, and you find yourself now in a new space again, to where it's like, okay, what, how do we move forward with the things that you do have in motion, but at the same time, being mindful that you've been true to yourself, but you've served in the capacity that you were supposed to serve. And even in that, that God restores, like, you're exhausted, you have those moments of exhaustion. But that's why I'm also so sensitive to choosing what it is you want to do. And choosing it doesn't mean it has to be a specific thing, nor does it have to be something that causes you, because I think everybody is like, we all want this moment. We want this breakthrough moment. Give yourself a breakthrough moment. Don't look for other people to validate that. Like, my past 5 years have been very interesting. You could not have told me that would be my life, like, to going from caring for my father to caring for a spouse in a somewhat similar way, to where I had to make a lot of sacrifices. But I did stay true to who I was, and also learned who I was. And in that, I know God has something in store, for that to be used. But I can tell there's just a different level of grace and compassion when working with others and dealing with others, to know that we all showing up, and we see people, we see them, we see CP, hosting the shows and setting up shop to record, the most dynamic galas and all of this different stuff. But we don't know that he, where he goes home to. And so my thing is, everybody shows up with more, with something. And we've got to give people grace.
Man, and again, it's amazing that in that whole piece, again, you stayed on the fact of being authentic. When you're authentic, when you're authentic in everything you do, people feel that. People know the difference between you telling me, "Oh, I love you," and then you tell me, "Oh, I love you." No, man, come on, let's get real. And with you, from day one, when we first met doing that last minute Boys to Men call.
Oh my God.
That
was so crazy.
But again, that's the way for us to meet that way. And it's still to this day. Now that was almost over 20 years as well.
It was because I just moved back from New York. And my aunt calls and she's like, "Oh, Cecil and we're here." It was some spot was it Janae's West?
Janae's West, yeah.
In New City. And Boys to Men, they're here before their concert. And then I had on something so conservative. She was like, "You need to take that shirt off." And so that's how you and I met. We met grinding, you know?
That's it. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it was Marla saying, "I got somebody to host." Okay. Cause in my head, I'm like, this interview with Boys to Men and it's a dude, it wouldn't fit. She said, "I got somebody." I said, "Who?" She said, "My niece."
Yeah, I was at work.
She said, "My niece." I'm like, "Oh, she thinks she can make it?" So I'm like, "Yeah, I'll call her right now." And she called, you showed up. I said, "Oh, okay, yeah. All right, relax." And you like, "Okay, what do you want me to do?" Just relax and just ask him this.
My God.
And it was like, and the way you did it was like, okay, oh man, hey, are you interested in doing some more stuff later on? We're gonna have to do some things. And you were like, "Oh, okay."
And you all were still at Charter. So Charter had that show called Real Entertainment.
Yeah.
So I ended up winning the host position for that, but then it was canceled before it even started. I did one gig, which was the Said the Entertainer was at the Esquire. We were all there.
For the barbershop release.
I did. So I hosted that with you all. And after that, but what's crazy though, CP, when you bring that up, I think about being ready.
Yeah.
You say you want something, you want to choose to do a few things. And when the opportunity shows up, like I had to be uncomfortable. I didn't know as much as I thought I would. I didn't know enough about Boys to Men, but I figured it out on the way. Cell phone and driving, and but also you all, worked with me, you coached me, being attentive because that was my first go round with something on that level.
Right.
And you all literally had a station in a show. But being ready, and you never know when that call is going to come. And that was totally unexpected. But also what happened that night, what else happened that night? I met Marty Casey.
Yeah.
And I ended up going on the road with a play for 2 years.
And again, with that, I interviewed Dr. Casey on a previous show, and she talked about how, I said, yeah, you know how we first met? She said, I said, yeah, it's your play. It was right there off of Shepley when I was doing. I said, yeah, me and Nikki came there, and she said, and she ended up leaving there and was my star actress after that. I said, yeah, that was, I mean, but again,
but she worked, but she also, that was another thing, being ready, being in place.
Yeah.
If you say, you know, being open, was I prepared? Honestly, not for real. Not totally, but I knew I wanted it.
Right.
So I had to choose to be present and learn. And also, and so I mean, I was up late, literally sleeping with scripts because it was 2 weeks before the show went on. That was with Joe Torre, LaShawn Pace, Terrell Phillips from Blackstreet. Sean Levert. Levert showed up on some of the part of the tour. Like, it was amazing. But had I not taken the risk, really, to answering the call for you and Marla, that would not have happened because I did not even know her. Like, we had never crossed paths, and it was phenomenal, and it's been phenomenal ever since, you know.
And I mean, Nikki, we have had so much, so we've done so many different things with television, with the video shows and all that.
Oh my God.
And then the people we've met, I mean, like I said, we sit back now, especially for me, we sit back and I look at, we had David Banner on the set.
I know.
You know, with Jill Scott, we've had people on the set, and we just sit back now. And at that point in time, we were doing our thing and just hanging, and they were hanging with us. And now to look and see, these people are icons in their industry right now.
Yeah. And it's not even something that I've totally processed. But I think that's a good thing in regard, like, it keeps me, you know, in a space of humility. But now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, still in a space of humility, but it's like, dang, we've done some work. Yeah.
I mean, and then to be to the point to where, like I said, I've just come to the fact doing this whole pandemic piece that's I'm a historian. I realize that now. I'm a historian because.
But see what I'm saying?
Exists like the clothing place we went to in the Loop.
Stitch. Is it Fifth Stitch?
Was that the name of it?
I think so.
It was right next door to right now. What's called is there now? The Chess. Is that what?
Fifth Stitch. Tracy Lee Minner and oh my gosh, I forgot his partner name. And we had the shirts.
Yeah.
And they just, I mean, they blew up.
Yeah.
And then they decided, on to the next thing.
I mean, we've been at the Loop dealing with the magazine with your friend who had the magazine.
Oh my God, Keenan Harris.
Yeah. I mean,
hipster.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, I mean, we've been around so many things and have some of the stuff on file to where, you know, like I say, like everything else, we did it at that point in time, and there are people we knew, and we just went along with it, and ha, and then to hear that on, well, you know, such. Wait a minute, I remember that, man. I was there. We was there for that, and then regardless of the ups and downs, but they were real relationships. They are real relationships, and like I said, that's why when I called you, like, hey, would you do this? You're like, let me see. I like, yeah, I know you're busy. I guess just give me some time, just a little bit of your time.
Listen, I make time. That's why back to choosing. I make time, but I've just learned how to not be everywhere doing everything and find myself in a position not to give you my best.
Right.
And to do what you've asked me to do in excellence. And so that's one thing my parents have really, when you talk about being a PK kid, that was the one thing, no slang and do what you do in excellence. It doesn't mean perfection, but do your best,
right,
and let God come in and do the rest of it. And so, yeah, that was it. It was, it's always a yes, but
man.
it's just a matter of, let me get some rest first.
Right,
Because,
right.
you always take me into these emotional places, and I'm like,
but again, and you talk about, I say, I don't care what nobody says. You have to know by this next thing I'm about to say that God has a sense of humor, because we met through the boys to men piece, been friends ever since. Just 3 years ago, Vashon High School had a class reunion. Me and you sitting there talking, your mother comes there, and my mama comes up and says, come on, let's go. I'm like, where they going? And come to find, they graduated together. We've been with each other all this time, and they never. I'm like, wait a minute, you know Nikki mom? Come on, yeah, I know Dolores. Come on, yeah, I know Sandy.
They grew up in the same project.
Yes,
as kids.
I said,
and graduated from the same school. So I'm like, are you kidding me? And we've been around
all this time.
You all.
And they never said a word. And it was, I mean, it's like, that's just crazy. Gun. Anyway, I ain't gonna do it to you. Nikki, I love you so much. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. This has been a joy, an honor. And you just throw out the first question, and we truly have conversation. And I'm glad that you thought enough of me to bring me and trust me on this platform. And those who are listening, I'm hoping that somebody has been encouraged and understand that I don't care what phase of life you're in, how dark it looks, get aligned with yourself. Do some self-reflection, and that's, as I said, get some quiet time, write out. I don't care how corny it feels, lean into it and understand that's just you getting to know each other. It should be uncomfortable because you're getting to know somebody you haven't met yet. And so go ahead and meet that person being you, and understand that it is not too late to choose what tomorrow looks like. And in CP, I applaud you for choosing to make tomorrow look even better, not just for yourself, but even for us who come on and share our stories. We thank you.
Thank you so much. Now let people know they can hear you when now. Conversation with Nikki.
Conversations in the Nick of Time on Tuesdays, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on KSTL 690. You can also go to the Facebook or YouTube, which is under Nikki Roach, NICCIROACH. Or you can go to the website, nikkiroach.com, if you want to be a guest, or you want to be on CP's Takeover.
All right. Once again, thank you, and love you, Nikki Roach. Dr. Nikki Roach in a few months. I'm saying it right now, in a few months, you're gonna be Dr. Nikki Roach. 2022, you'll be Dr. Nikki Roach.